I haven't done pasta about Foster's home since I think my second Creepypastas video, and that was all about Blue killing everyone in the house. Now it seems like the tables have turned, with Blue being killed by Madam and Frankie. And apparently this has been going on for a while, and they're using the quote-unquote adopted friends as, well, food. And obviously they don't tell anyone else in the house about it. I get what the story's trying to do. It's trying to be spooky, it's trying to tell some type of solid story, I guess. It's a little bit disturbing with how you can imagine this all happening, but at the same time, it's highly unlikely, because for the most part, Foster's has never been all about horror. It's been pretty straightforward. I find it really far-fetched that this is the case. Also, what would Mac think if suddenly Blue's not there anymore? He's been gone for a week. What, did they kill him too? Actually, for that matter, at the end, there's this one imaginary character who tells another one, he or she says, well, I'm gonna be killed tomorrow, and that's it. Why don't you just run away? Why don't you just leave the house? Why don't you just take a picture and show people? Why don't you just film something? I mean, I can understand why you wouldn't want to go back, but that's what I would have done the first time. But no one ever thinks about that when you're in the moment, I guess. I guess some people don't act really smart when they're kind of stuck in the moment. A quiet hush flows through the room as the imaginary friend waves. He's just been adopted. Poor sucker. Oh, my name? You don't need to know that, but you can call me Shade. I'm an imaginary friend. A black cat to be precise. Nothing overly creative. Oh, you're new here, huh? Pity. You're a cute one. You'll be adopted in no time. What do I mean? Well, let me explain. See the huge purple monster over there? Never, ever ask him about a character named Blue. Let me tell you a story about this place. Come over to my room. Not that we're safe. Let me tell you. Blue was an imaginary friend. A little blue dome for a head, and a long body. Nothing overly creative. His personality is what stood out. He was a cheerful little guy, always hyperactive and happy as could be. But one day that changed. He came to me one morning, shivering and sobbing. He asked me to come into his room. There was something he needed to tell me. I accepted, and once in his room, he broke down. Tales of a freezer shoved full of dead friends, organs and blood everywhere. At first I thought I was crazy, and so I told the Mam and Frankie. They exchanged looks for merely a moment, and asked me why I thought such things. I told them it was absurd, of course. I explained Blue probably had some sort of emotional issues from Mac only being allowed to visit once a day when he was used to being with him all the time. They agreed, and told me that they would take care of it. I didn't think anything of it when Blue didn't show up for breakfast the next day. I thought they had really gotten him some treatment and he might be gone for a few days. But then a week went by, and I grew suspicious. What if Blue had been telling me the truth that day? So I began my search one night. It was about 1 a.m., and everyone else in the house was asleep. I crept down the stairs, my paw pads making barely a sound as I turned myself to fit in the slightly ajar kitchen door. I crept towards the freezer, my body low to the ground, and snuck inside. I crept about in the darkness, my eyesight nearly perfect. What I saw astounded and frightened me. Metal hooks hung from the ceiling, and on each one was an empty bodice. Each was a different shape, completely void of organs, head, and limbs. All around, the smell of death entered my sensitive nose, and I gagged. I explored deeper into the abyss and found a room that smelled most horrid. I always regretted opening that door. Inside this room was a large cold metal table with a shape bound to it by straps. I heard a pain moaning and hesitated before turning on the light. I felt the bile build up in my throat. There on the table, organs hanging from his abdomen, was Blue. I jumped and quickly hid as footsteps came down the hallway, and with much hesitance, I jumped into a pile of long discarded, half-rotten organs. I spent the rest of the night in terror. Watching Blue's face distort, hearing his screams echo as Frankie removed each and every organ in a most cruel way. By the time she was done, Blue's eyes had rolled back in his head, and his flesh had become cold. She mumbled that she would finish preparing the body tomorrow, and left. I waited until she reached the end of the hallway before slowly lifting myself out of the organs. I went to Blue, guilt building in my heart. "I'm sorry, my friend. I should have listened," I said. When I turned to leave this horrid place, there was the ma'am, with a butchering knife in her hand. She made me a deal. "Help us with our meal plan, and you shall live," she said. "But only on the condition you tell no one about this." I'm sorry. Now that I've told you this horror, I will be killed and eaten like Blue. I will be adopted tomorrow at noon precise, and only you will know the truth until you spill it to someone else. And then you will also be adopted. Please, my friend, I could not keep my silence, and I had to tell someone. But whatever you do, don't let anyone else be adopted.